Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Friday. Just a quick bit of news for you. Your Lakers are in trouble tonight in Miami.
We're going to put some cases on
Yeah,
the
we'll
Quick
put one
update.
case on.
Okay.
I got the Heat, but you're going to give me the 3.5.
No,
right?
no, we
Why
don't
not?
get a point. No.
Oh, come on.
I'll give you what they
Your
scored.
Lakers has won like 84 in a row.
We won 22 out of 24, something like that. I mean,
Yeah. So I'll take 3.5 for a case, right?
Audi like
3.5?
I mean, the numbers just keep piling up, Skip. I can't count.
You're going to have co-MVPs. LeBron and AD are going to be, they're going to share it this year, right?
Nah.
Take a case for 3.5.
No.
Oh, somebody has no guts, has no courage of conviction.
Miami's playing really well.
Yeah.
They're playing really well. They can shoot the three.
Okay.
Bam,
So?
Bam
This
is
is
doing
the
it.
Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, that's your team.
Jimmy Buckets.
You're melting.
No.
All right, we will talk about that one. I am so glad to be here on a Friday, guys. Is Lamar Jackson changing the entire future of the NFL? And Pacers All-Star guard Victor Oladipo is going to join us live in studio to talk about his run on The Masked Singer. You guys catch that? He was pretty impressive.
I think I'm gonna do it next year.
To it.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Well, you can't
Shannon.
sing.
Well, I can.
Actually,
I told you I'm the karaoke king.
I've been singing
Yes!
in the mornings. It's a little frightening, but we'll get the info there. But we're going to start with America's Game of the Week on Fox. Rams, Cowboys. Dallas is looking to snap its 3-game losing streak, but it's not going to be easy against a Rams team that has started to shake off its Super Bowl hangover. Sean McVay's team is coming off back-to-back wins to get into the NFC wildcard hunt at 8-5. And while the 6-7 Cowboys could still lose this game and control its own destiny to win the NFC East, Zeke Elliott said that, quote, the focus should already be at an all-time high. So, Shannon, who wins on Sunday, Rams or Cowboys?
You know, Skip, when I look at this game, you look at the Cowboys and, you know, you love those Cowboys. I don't love them nearly as much as you do. As a matter of fact, I don't love them at all. But when I look at the Rams and what they've been able to do the last couple of weeks, they're starting to look like the Rams offense of last year that led the league in scoring. Jared Goff has played really well, especially the last 2 weeks. And I know you're going to say, well, one of those games against the Cardinals, and they didn't mount much of a defensive effort to do anything to slow that Rams offense down. But Todd Gurley, I think, has been the key. For some reason, I don't know what it is. Sean McVay says maybe he was an idiot or he was just stupid. But he's starting to give Todd Gurley his touches. 3 of the last 4 games, he's gotten 20-plus touches. And when Todd Gurley can run the football, he doesn't need to be 150 yards a game. But when he can run it a little, the play action is really there. And now that leaves Cooper Kupp, who is his favorite target, Robert Woods. Those guys are wide open. Brandon Cooks can still take the top off the coverage. Higbee, the tight end, is playing unbelievable the last couple of weeks. Skip, I know you think this is going to, your Cowboys are going to show something. And plus, you already told me they don't really need this game. They're looking forward to next week because they can lose this week and win next week and everything will be all forgotten. It's not going to happen. I got the Rams 31-27 because, you know what, Skip? The Cowboys will probably show up for a quarter two. That's normally what they do. They probably take the opening drive and march right down the field. And if they were to do that, you already know what happens after that. Then they go the next 2.5 quarters and they do absolutely nothing. Or one of two things are going to happen. They're going to do the first scenario, what I just mentioned, or they do absolutely nothing for like 3.5 quarters. Your guy mounts a valiant effort. You say what a warrior he is. Your guy didn't quit, but they lose. They're going to lose 31-27. The Rams going to be right back in the wild card hunt, and you guys will be on life support. And then guess what? Walk it to them. We'll walk over there politely and pull the plug next week.
Interesting and boring, but predictable from you. So, I have an announcement to make.
What?
The Dallas Cowboys are going to win this football game. I am not here to bet any due on it. I am not guaranteeing it. I'm just telling you, I believe with all my heart and soul, right here, right now, they are going to win this football game.
Give me the 4 points, Dean.
They are going to flip the script. They are going to reverse your intended curse that you put on them because you've been cursing them week after week. It's been a long, hard, brutal season for me to watch, and I just have a feeling it ends or starts right here, right now. Why do I feel that?
Yeah, why?
Because they hit bottom in Kansas City. I don't know how, I'm in Kansas City, in Chicago, I'm sorry.
Fair.
That they hit so bottom that they missed 19 tackles. It's the most that have been missed in a single game over the last full calendar year of NFL football. Mm-hmm. And they have had to hear about it all week. And I've told you this before, and I'm going to drive it home today. The most publicized team in all of sports, it's not the Yankees, it's the Dallas Cowboys. They're the most publicized team in the world to me. I guess you could debate that with some of the big soccer franchises. But to me, it can be a double-edged sword because it can create a fat cat syndrome in which they all get overpaid and overrated, and we've seen a lot of that this year with DeMarcus Lawrence and Ezekiel Elliott.
Because I know what you mean by fat cat, because it has anything to do with success, because you guys hadn't been successful in a very long time.
But that double-edged sword, the other side of it is it can eventually create what I call the alley cat syndrome, where all of a sudden they just get
Y'all ain't got none of them. Y'all ain't got none of them. Stop it.
Lean,
Stop it.
They get mean,
whatever.
They get hungry, and here they come when you least expect it. They just get sick and tired of hearing about how bad they are, especially from the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe.
Did I lie?
The leader of
Did I lie?
Chorus, the anti-Cowboy.
Am I lying, Skip?
No, you're not lying.
Okay, thank you.
But this is going to be the first time all year that they rise up and they beat a winning football team, because the Rams are 8-5. I know they had their struggles, which were actually worse struggles than the Cowboys had for a little while, but they're 8-5. They're winners of 3 of their last 4. They're winners of 5 of their last 7, and they're a talented, I think, well-coached football team. So they present, obviously, a huge challenge, and one that my team will meet and spring back to life just in time to go to Philadelphia. I've told you from the start, the game I have believed in the most all year is that Dallas will win at Philadelphia. So obviously, as you point out, they don't need to win this game. They just better win this game. And it's about your own pride. It's about self-belief. It's about faith. It's about reaching down and saying, we are this good, because a lot of people think we are this good. Well, they're still the number 1 ranked offense in Pro Football Focus.
We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay. And this game will boil down to the one player I've trusted all year on my team. Dak Prescott will outplay Jared Goff.
He's never done it before.
Yes, he has.
Hadn't done it before.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Thank you for bringing that up and opening that door for me. So these two quarterbacks who were drafted in the same draft met the first time in 2017
What happened?
at Jerry World. The Rams came back to win that game 35-30, but Dak way outplayed Jared Goff because his QBR for that game was 81. Jared Goff had a 46. Dak threw 3 touchdown passes to 1 interception, but completely statistically outplayed Jared Goff. So again, if we're talking about the head-to-head meeting, Dak outplayed him. What happened in the playoff game? Rams won 30-22. Was it because of Jared Goff? Nope, it was not. Somehow,
who picked up that first down run in the football?
I'll get to that in just a second. But this game, that game, Jenny attended that game at the Coliseum here in Los Angeles. Yes. It was 1 week after my defense had shackled, shut down, suffocated the Seattle Seahawks' number 1 rushing attack, held it to 73 yards rushing at Jerry World in a playoff game. Who knew? How did they do that? They beat Russell Wilson 24-22, and it wasn't that close. He had one late garbage time.
So now okay. I want you to remember.
I'm using your word.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Garbage touchdown, because it was 24-12 with under 2 minutes remaining, and then it ended up 24-22.
Okay.
But the point was, after they had done that to that team, they came right out here to Los Angeles. It was a Saturday night game, and what happened? 273 yards rushing happened, but 170 of those yards came in the first half. Thanks in part to Todd Gurley, but in too larger part to C.J. Anderson, who doesn't live in Los Angeles anymore, right?
Nope.
So he's not a Ram. Todd Gurley has sprung back to life in some way, shape, and form. It's not like he's running for 150 a game, but he had 79 yards.
Nice.
And it was a good game. You're right. They have recommitted to the run, and I give them that. But that night, they really committed to the run. 273 rush yards against the same defense that had held the number one rush attack to 73. Wow, how can you explain that?
You guys don't handle prosperity well.
Okay, maybe not. I don't know. But once again, that night, my quarterback had a QBR of 84, and your quarterback now, Jared Goff, had a 57. So he is dramatically outplayed him both times, and it's about to happen again, this time at Jerry World.
But this is what I don't understand, Skip. You said, okay, Jared Goff has won every matchup that he has faced, with his team has faced Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. And you said, statistically, he's outplayed him. But when I use that same argument to say Patrick Mahomes have outplayed Tom Brady every matchup, you say, who won the game and who made the plays? Who made the play to make sure Dak Prescott did not get the football back? Jared Goff. When they were down at the half, who came back out, hit Todd Gurley for that touchdown right up the seam? Who threw those touchdown passes to get them back into the game and ultimately win the ball game? Was that Jared Goff?
Okay, it was a dink and dunk.
That was not
well, it was.
Look here.
Okay, look, when we're talking about last year, Tom Brady versus Pat Mahomes, right?
Yes.
Well, in the first meeting, Tom Brady threw for 182 in the fourth quarter, and you say, yeah, but Patrick's QBR was a little better than Tom's. 182 in the fourth quarter and 2 more touchdowns?
And he still didn't have as many passing yards or passing touchdowns as Tom Brady. So in other words, by your metric, by what you're using, Pat Mahomes outplayed him. But I say another
No, but he didn't. You could just see what happened in the fourth quarter. And then in the AFC Championship game, what happened in overtime?
See?
Okay, but they're huge. They're impossible. No one's ever converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s in an overtime of a championship game. Nobody does that.
Well, John Elway picked up 2 4th and 10s in the AFC divisional game against the Oilers, but that's none of my business.
Tom Brady was on the way to his 6th Super Bowl win.
Okay,
what happened to John after that? I don't know.
We lost to Buffalo 10-7.
Thank you.
But Skip, why you do this? At some point in time, you're going to have to realize that your guy gets a lot of his stuff in garbage time. That's what Dak has been picking up a lot lately, garbage. And I heard, I don't know if this is correct or not, the NFL Game of the Week here on Fox is also being simulcast on the History Channel.
Yep.
Because if you want to see Dallas win anything, you got to go back in history to do it. And that's what they do on the History Channel. They show history. Skip Bayless.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't meant to be funny.
I can't stop laughing.
Because you keep talking about, these Cowboys and what you've done and Michael Irvin, these Cowboys.
I don't ever say that. You haven't heard me say that on this show.
You talk about how great your Cowboys are. Skip, they've done nothing. I don't know how you...
I don't care about that. I care about now.
Okay, what have they done now?
The Fox Game of the Week.
And they've lost 3.
They've done one thing this year.
What?
And only one thing. They beat the stuffing out of your Eagles. That's it.
So
they got one signature win of the whole year. And you know what? It's such a big win, it kept them afloat, and they're still in first place.
So hold on. So you're saying that's their signature win?
Yeah.
A team that lost to the Miami Dolphins.
I know.
That's your signature win.
No, that's your team.
Hold on. A team that lost to A team that lost to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I know. That's your team, the Eagles.
That's your
quarterback.
Hold on.
Your quarterback lost to the Detroit Lions at home, and then he lost to the Miami Dolphins.
All I know is your guy lost to Mitchell Trubisky.
He did.
Your guy lost to Josh Allen.
I agree.
My guy beat those guys.
Okay, but my guy is in first place, and your guy's in second place.
My guy's right there. First of all, we have the same record.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We have the tiebreaker.
No,
we have the tiebreakers.
We
beat you.
6 and 7.
We beat you. And we're going to beat you again because we've beaten you 4 straight times.
First of all, after you lose this game on Sunday, we win on Sunday. Who will be in first place, Skip?
Well, then there's still a big game.
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about that game. I'm sure
we're not going to lose. I already told you who's going to win this game.
Skip, you're not beating the Rams.
He's got a feeling.
I don't know if you noticed this. Last 2 games, Aaron Donald, a sack and a half each game. Yeah. He's back at 11. He's leading the NFL in tackle for losses. Your left guard is in trouble.
You know what? Aaron Donald has played in both these games against my Dallas Cowboys.
And he's won.
I didn't even know he was in the game. And maybe he'll take this one over. I don't know.
If you don't mind me asking,
we've done really well on Aaron Donald.
If you don't mind me asking, was Dak Prescott in that game? Because he have yet to win. Because somebody has to explain to me, how can Dak Prescott play all these games against Jared Goff and not win any of them? So maybe his backup was in.
How many sacks does Aaron Donald have against the Dallas Cowboys in his career? Help me out. How many wins?
Answer
the question.
Okay.
Help me out.
How many wins?
How about 0?
As many wins as Dak Prescott has against the LA Rams. How many he got?
Well, you brought him up.
I did.
And I slammed the door.
I know. Hold on. All I know is you keep telling me your quarterback is better than that quarterback.
By the way,
well, then why can't he win?
That Aaron Donald is the best player in all of pro football. I think I saw that guy last night, but that's a whole nother issue.
Skip.
We'll get to that in a
Hold
moment.
on, Skip. You do know, like, once you become the best, that's not for perpetuity. You don't get to be the best player in football forever. You know, you have to update your resume.
Update the resume.
So, in other words, I just want to know, when is your guy going to update his resume and get a win over the Rams and Jared Goff? When is that going to happen?
Fox game of the week this Sunday. What is it, 4:25 Eastern?
4:25.
4:25 Eastern. You should watch.
And by 4:40,
you should watch,
and you should turn up the
Listen to
sound.
And guess what, Skip?
Just so you get it rubbed in your face.
And guess what, Skip? And by the game starts at 4:25. By 4:40, you'll be down by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
4:40, okay.
4:40, you're down 2 tubs.
I said I wasn't going to bet on this, but I'll bet 5 cases on that.
No, we already got a bet. We already got our case on this thing right here.
We don't have any cases.
Hello.
I just said it off the top. You weren't listening.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not going to bet anything.
Why not?
Well, I got 5 cases on the division. I feel real good about that.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm
good. I'm in first place. So
we tied for first. You're not in first place. We're tied.
So the sick and tired syndrome is really going to kick in because this team is sick and tired of hearing from you how bad it is. It's sick and tired of hearing about how Jerry Jones has undercut Jason Garrett, how Jason Garrett is the lamest duck coach who ever waddled to a game, right?
Yes, he is.
And he's going to waddle all the way to this one, and I hope he's irrelevant because they're going to win in spite of him and in spite of all the distractions caused by their owner/GM on his radio show. This is the time when my quarterback says, here we go.
This is what Skip, I have a hard time understanding this with this Jason Garrett phenomenon. They win in spite of him, but they lose because of him.
I've told you that from the start. I've been telling you that for 3 years.
Why does he get so little credit when they win and all the blame when they lose? How is that possible?
I tried to get him fired back after the 2012 season, and I said, from this point forward, if they win, they'll just do it by rendering him
the guys won. Hold on. The guys won 3 division titles since 2014. Correct? Now, unless you're Coach Belichick or John Harbaugh, maybe Mike Tomlin, who else can say that?
I told you it takes some external event, like something from heaven sent. It requires DeMarco Murray suddenly leading the league in rushing and having one big career year. It takes Dak Prescott falling out of heaven into Jerry's lap and Zeke just dominating the NFL as a rookie.
Well, do that now. Hold on. Is Dak still with the Cowboys? Is Zeke still with the Cowboys? Do they still got the highest paid offensive line in football still at the Cowboys?
By the way, Dak's had a really good year.
Dak got garbage yards. Give me some of I need some of them yards that Lamar Jackson get when the game is
how QBR doesn't count garbage yards. It eliminates.
Hold on, who's in first?
Still third in QBR.
Hold on. How did he go from first to third, Jenny?
Yeah, because there's this guy named Lamar Jackson.
I
don't know if you have to watch. I don't know. Maybe you were busy last night. Watching the History Channel. Maybe you were watching the History Channel.
But I also watch what he does when the game is 7-0 or 7-7 or 14-7 or 14-14.
He's got
Lamar Jackson ain't getting no garbage. He out of the game. He out of the game.
So
they don't need him.
I got to tell you that as ugly and humiliating as the loss at Chicago was, I like the way they finished that game because they did finish strong. And my quarterback will fight you to the death. And he did have 224 yards passing in the fourth quarter. And for what it's worth, they did actually create 2 turnovers. And they don't do that.
And still caught an L.
And they still caught an L because the defense was abysmal.
Hold on. Who created those turnovers? The offense created turnovers. So when can offense take the ball away from the offense? Oh.
Well, I can't defend it. You got me. But now it's time to flip the script.
You keep talking about your guy will fight. See, your guy want to fight once the fight has been broke up. You know somebody, they bump it, as soon as he grab it, let me go. Let me at it. When the game is out of hand, your guy want to throw for 180 yards, 200 yards in the fourth quarter. It's over. Take your butt back to the sideline, get on that bus, go to the airport, and take your butt back to Dallas. But you don't have to go on the bus. You don't have to get on the plane and go back home. You get in your car and you drive and you just listen to your music. Put your Bose, because you know he be listening to Bose. He be listening to the, doing his hip like that right there.
He might be listening to Sinatra.
Yeah, I don't care what he gonna listen to L. He gonna be listening to Timberlake, Cry Me a River. That's what he's listening to on Sunday.
So, speaking of my quarterback, here is going to be, I'm going to beat this desk one more time, the key change.
What?
I've been saying this over and over again, and maybe somebody is listening to me because I would make a good next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
You ain't gonna make no coach. Stop talking about you want to be a coach.
The fire starter on this team, in the locker room, in the huddle, and especially on the field, the playmaker is number 4, the quarterback, more than number 21, the running back.
Okay.
Number 21 has gone 5 straight games without even cracking 100 yards, and I hope that changes. It would help if that changed against the Rams. But here's the key change that must be made. The quarterback must be allowed to run the football. Nothing ignites my team more, as we saw again and again last year, than the quarterback running the football. I'm talking about called runs.
And Lamar Jackson.
Read options, quarterback draws, bootleg keepers, whatever it takes to get 240 pounds in motion upfield, because he will make plays and excite the offense. It will jumpstart the offense. And all I need to tell you is this. At this point last year, Dak Prescott had run 67 times. So far this year, same games, through this many games, 13 games, 41 rushes. 67 last year, 41 this year.
Yeah.
That's a dramatic drop-off. And obviously some are scrambles, some are called, and I've got the breakdown, and it's about the same equivalent in each one, but it's 28 scrambles last year to 39 called, 16 scrambles this year to 25 called. So he's had 14 more called runs last year than he's had this year. You have to let him run the ball. They've tried to establish Zeke. Too often on first down, he goes nowhere slowly.
They tried to establish your guy throwing the football, and you're going nowhere slowly.
He only leads the league in that.
But Skip, think about this. You lead the league in passing yards. You're third in the league in QBR. You lead the league in as an offense, but you got 6 wins. You're quarterback. We blame, now, if there's anybody else, we would blame the quarterback. But somehow, it's Zeke's fault. It's the overpaid offensive line. It's DeMarcus Lawrence. You removed the D from his name. It's all these missed tackles. At what point in time is Jason Garrett? Because, they win in spite of him, but they lose because of him. At what point in time is it the quarterback's fault?
I told you he hasn't made enough key plays, the plays. He's made a whole lot of plays, a lot more than anybody else on this team has made, but the play that breaks open the game, he has not been able to make.
He made it for the other teams. You remember those interceptions that he got started with Green Bay?
Yeah.
That helped them. You remember the one for Buffalo?
Wait,
that helped them.
You mean the Amari Muff into the interception?
Don't do that, Skip. You shouldn't have thrown it behind him.
So, Tony Pollard, I believe, is healthy enough to play in this game as opposed to what happened in Chicago.
Man.
Tony Pollard will make a difference in this game.
Really?
I want to see some 2-back sets. I want to see some balls in Tony Pollard's hands because he's got some electricity to him. You can toss it to him. You can throw it to him. You can hand it to him. I want to see him help electrify the offense in ways Zeke has not. And I don't want to see Zeke have a season-long 31-yard run and then go for 4 and 2 and then say, I guessed. Get me out of here in the second quarter of the game.
Tell Tony Pollard to go for 31 yards then.
Okay, well, he's highly capable.
I don't know what he's capable of doing, but I know what he hasn't done.
And I appreciate you bringing up Marcus Lawrence because there's no D in that name.
That's what you call him. I call that man his name.
Get it back.
He spoke out this week. He said, I'm here to testify. I will not no-show anymore. I will not disappear anymore. Blah, 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 blah.
So in other words,
I'm tired of the blah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I want to see it.
Fair.
It's time to rise and shine. It's time to earn your $100 million contract.
So he testified.
Yeah.
So in other words, he came before the congregation, stood before the pastor.
He did.
And said, I've been sinning. I've been bull-jiving on you, cowboy. Man, I wish... Get out of here.
Well, put it out there.
He asked for forgiveness. Not getting it from me.
Not yet.
He might get
Maybe
it from upstairs,
Sunday.
but not from me.
What's your score?
Yeah. What was your score?
31-27 Rams.
7.
Ironic, because I'd already written this down. Jenny can
Oh, how weird.
Thank you very much.
Same.
I have Dallas 31, Los Angeles 27.
Weird.
I am flipping your script. I am reversing your curse. Here we go.
Okay.
This is it. This is the launching pad game. It's the Rams. You know what? In the end, my team owes the Rams, and they know they owe the Rams because the Rams beat them in 2017 at home, but more important, the Rams beat them out here in a playoff game. I thought my team could win.
They haven't
Rams
forgotten
shackled them.
that.
They did. So they are owed, and they will get repaid, starting with number 4, the quarterback that you just disrespect him so much. And you know what? He hears it, he sees it, and he will thrive on it on Sunday. Game of the week, Fox, 425. Watch it. Turn up the sound.
I want you to listen to this
Rams.
one. I feel like it's
Rams going to beat the Cowboys like they owe them money. Now, you know if somebody owe you money they don't want to pay, you beat them down when you catch up with them.
Well,
that's what's about to happen on Sunday.
I actually need the Cowboys to win, too, but it's because the Vikings. I mean, the Rams are just one game back for that 6th seed in the NFC, so I'm with Skip today.
Home team.
I don't know if he likes that, but...
Jenny.
What?
Don't.
That's all I got to say.
I thought you and I was nice.
Nope.
Tandem.
Today, we'll go with the Cowboys.
You know what? It will feel good to knock the Rams out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what's about to happen.
No, it's not.
Yep.
No mercy.
So the Ravens clinched the AFC North last night behind both the legs and the arm of Lamar Jackson in a 42-21 blowout win over the Jets. Lamar ran for 86 yards last night, which was enough to break Michael Vick's single-season QB rushing record. The MVP frontrunner also had his 3rd game of the season with 5 passing touchdowns. Lamar's 33 passing touchdowns on the year is not only the lead in the NFL, but that also ties the Ravens' single-season franchise record. So, Shannon, how impressive was Lamar?
Skip, he's making it look easy. I think the thing is now, I think it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to be the MVP. The only question that I have is, will it be unanimous?
I'll just answer that right now. Yes.
You think it's going to be?
Yes.
Because what he's doing, he's throwing a touchdown every 11 pass attempts. That's the best since Aaron Rodgers' absurdly 45-6 season. Let that sink in. Now, Peyton Manning went 55-10. Patrick Mahomes went 50-10, if I'm not mistaken. So he's throwing a touchdown more often than those guys threw touchdowns in those historic seasons. That's what he's doing. Then you combine that with his legs. Skip, we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen a guy, he'd lead the league in touchdown passes. Skip, he's 5th in the NFL in rushing. He's the quarterback. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen a guy that can run like this. Like I said, Michael Vick can run like this. Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument right now, they're equal. Skip, Michael Vick finished that season when he rushed for over 1,000 yards and broke the record. He threw 20 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson has 33 with 2 games to go. He's on pace to go over 1,200 rush yards, which is absurd. He's going to finish somewhere between probably, I'd say, 35, 38 touchdowns. With that body of work, he's number 1 in QBR. Skip, he and Tom Brady are the only guys to throw 5 touchdowns 3 times with 0 interceptions in a season.
Yep.
He did that.
He did that.
I've never seen, and we were talking about it, I've never seen anything like this. A guy that in 7 starts last year throws 6 touchdowns. And you remember how it was against the Chargers. They were booing him. We want Flacco. He's gone from that to this.
Incredible.
I've never seen anything like this. He's been unbelievable, increased his completion percentage by 8 points. Skip, he's making throws. That throw to Hollywood Brown on the move up in the pocket wasn't easy. The one to Seth Roberts wasn't easy. He's making it look easy. And I told Greg Williams, I said, if you blitz this kid and those guys run past him, he's going to jump out the window and he's going to be, and that's what they did. They went past him. He jumps out the window, Skip, and next thing you know, he's at the 6-yard line. That's what he can do. And what is, Skip, you have to spread the field because you don't want him to get on the edge. You see the first time he got the ball last night, they ran a design run, he got the edge and he picks up, 18 yards. The field is spread because you want to keep him kind of condensed in the pocket. But when you do that, you open up bigger throwing lanes. And you see he's hitting Andrews, he's hitting these tight ends. Skip, he's been unbelievable. That was a great performance last night. I'm glad people are getting an opportunity to see what this young man is doing. I can honestly say, having played this game and watched this game, nobody, and Cam had an unbelievable season when he won the MVP, but not this. Not this, Skip. Nobody. I mean, the guy's going to finish. He's going to be top 5 in rushing, going to lead the NFL in passing touchdown, Skip. Who'd ever saw that coming?
And to that point, every once in a while, something happens in sports, which is why we love sports so much.
It is.
Fair.
That nobody sees coming. Nobody saw this coming.
No.
Even the great Ozzie Newsome, a man you know very well.
I know him.
And this was his last hurrah,
Yes.
was to trade up to the last pick in the first round, number 32, to take this young man. I don't even think Ozzie saw this.
No.
If he saw this, he would have traded up farther. You know, he would have been afraid somebody else would snatch it.
Yes.
And we got to hear the great Joe Buck last night on the call, and I thought of his father, Jack Buck, and I don't know if you remember Jack.
I do.
Legendary play-by-play announcer.
Oh, yeah.
1988 World Series, Game 1, out here in L.A. I was covering the game, and Kirk Gibson came off the bench with a pulled hamstring and hit a legendary game-winning home run off the
Eckersley.
great Dennis Eckersley. And the line was from Jack Buck, "I don't believe what I just saw." And that was ringing in my ears last night. Every other play that Lamar pulled off, I was thinking, I don't believe what I just saw. Because I know what I did see last year. And by the way, before that draft, I said, I really like Lamar.
Right.
And I think it's a project. You're going to have to be patient with him. But I think he can be pretty good in this league.
Or do what John Harbaugh did,
Yeah.
take the kid and build the offense around him.
Okay. But nobody saw. Okay, so we saw him try to do that last year
Right.
because, you know, Lamar he started 7 games
Right.
last year. He played in all 16.
Right.
So he got his feet wet.
Right.
Because he got, if you mix metaphors, he got thrown into the fire.
Correct.
And we saw some glimpses of brilliance.
Yes.
At Kansas City, he hung right in there.
It took 2 fourths down for the Chiefs to beat him.
It did. And he was pretty good, and that was probably his best game of the year. But his QBR for the whole year ended up 46, which was 28th in the NFL. So it wasn't predicting greatness in the QBR.
And remember,
right?
Skip, he went to San Diego. He went to L.A. and beat the Chargers on a Saturday night.
Okay, all right. But then, to your point, he winds up in a home playoff game against those Chargers. And through 3 quarters, he was 3 of 9 for 25 yards. Think about that.
Yes.
That same guy you've been seeing night after big stage night.
Yes.
He was 3 of 9 for 25 yards through 3 quarters. And then they rallied in the fourth. They're down, 23-3
Right.
with 9 minutes left. And they rallied and they cut it to 23-17, but it really wasn't that close.
Right.
How do you quantum leap from that performance to what happened? You could see it in Game 1 this year at Miami. He went home to Miami, and he just lit up the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure. We thought the Dolphins were just kind
We
of
thought they were
middle
bad.
of the
They
pack.
tank it. They tank it for Tua.
Okay, but again, I thought they got some talent,
Right.
but he just destroyed them
Right.
on opening day. Remember that?
Yes.
And he really hasn't looked back. They have lost a couple of games. He lost to Kansas City, and then Baker went in there and lit him up. And Lamar played pretty well in that game, but Baker played a little better.
Correct.
And the Browns played a little better than the Ravens did,
Right.
scored 40 points. But the point now is, and you've brought this up regularly, but it's so many that they haven't just stacked wins, they've stacked impressive wins. They went to Seattle and won 30-16. They beat the Patriots on a Sunday night, 37-20. Houston went there and lost 41-7. This is toying with people.
Yes.
The Rams on Monday Night Football.
In
it
their
was
building.
45-6. Are you kidding me? 45-6? That's not even fair. And then they did beat the Niners, so it was a big quality win.
Right.
And it's 20-17, but it really wasn't that close to me. And they went to Buffalo, and that was a key significant win, 24-17. And then last night, I thought maybe the Jets could hang in, and Jets had a couple of early chances, but it was 42-21.
Right.
And to your point, after a while, it was like a frolic for him. He was just having fun out there.
Yes.
And it wasn't like he was showboating or grandstanding or hot dogging. He was just really having fun.
And, Skip, they have so much confidence in him. John Harbaugh, you listen to the NFL when he's mic'd up and he's saying, what you're doing is not easy. That throw, because he's talking about Buffalo last week, Skip, he's like, what you just did, that's not easy. And I thought they were going to go for it early on fourth down. But the second fourth down, Lamar's like, no, I got it. I got this. Skip, when you think about a team that can run the ball for it's 4th and 1.5. And you think about a team that's running the football for over 200 yards a game, you think they're going to run the ball. Lamar, throw the football for a first down. That's what you do with Aaron Rodgers. That's what you do with Brady on fourth down. You put the ball in your best player's hand and you say, throw it.
Right.
Well, this guy's legs is dynamic. They say, no, Lamar, throw it.
Correct. So I repeat, the reason this is so revolutionary to my eyes is because to my eye test, he is now easily the best running back in football. He's better than Chubb. He's better than Zeke. He's better than Dalvin.
Right.
He's better than Lil McCaffrey. He's better than any of them with the football tucked under his arm.
Right.
He has also become as deadly a thrower of the football as we see in this whole league.
Right.
You can have Drew Brees, you can have Tom Brady, whoever, you throw them all in there. This kid is deadly accurate. He just flicks missiles. And just when you think it's safe to say, oh, he just dinks and dunks for the most part, he will launch a missile from 60 yards. And the one I thought his best throw of the night was the pass interference in the end zone on Hollywood Brown. Do we have that play? There's another one that we're seeing all of his touchdowns here. Yeah, here's the missile to Hollywood that was a... Look at this, he's throwing it off one leg.
On the move.
Yeah, that was his throw of the night because that was going to be a touchdown.
That was going to be a tub, yeah, absolutely.
And that ball travels a real easy 60 yards in the air.
Yep.
So don't tell me he doesn't have a big arm.
And the first, and the touchdown, I think it's the boy can skip. You see him slide up in the pocket and then flip it change his arm angles and get the ball like it's nothing. Yes,
sidearm.
Skip, I think last year why he struggled so much. This wasn't Greg Roman's offense. This was Marty Morningweg's offense that was put in to accommodate Joe Flacco.
That's true.
So they're trying to put things together on the fly. Now we get an entire offseason to come up with a scheme. Greg Roman knows the scheme. He put the scheme in that helped Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers get to the Super Bowl against this very Ravens team. So we have an entire offense to work on a scheme for this guy to get comfortable. Because I can assure you, they talked to Bobby Petrino. And they got a lot of those plays that they running for the Ravens. They got those from Louisville and Bobby Petrino.
That's true.
And he's comfortable. Skip, look, there's this thing everybody talk about, coach. Sometimes coaches get lazy. Well, he can't run my system. Every quarterback that's starting today is in a system that accommodates what they do really well. John Harbaugh says, man, I'm tired of just going prototypical. Let me get 6'5", drop back, and let's go from there. How about we get a guy that's this athletic? Because somebody won the Heisman Trophy his sophomore year, threw for 3,000 yards, ran for 1,500. Somebody did that.
He did.
So John's like, well, how about we get that guy, build an offense around him, and go from there?
Yep.
And that's what they've done, and he's rewarded them. You see, quarterback by the position, we look at the quarterback, and it's always been this way, Skip. It's kind of like in a leadership role. You see the way those guys respond to this kid? The linemen, the running back, the defense, the receivers, the coaches.
They cannot wait to talk about him.
Bruh.
Praise his.
That's it, Skip. That's it.
I agree. The flip side of that, and we just talked about my Dallas Cowboys. Do you know how many times my offense has gotten in the red zone this year where I'm on the floor like I'm on my knees? They're grinding into the red zone, and I'm saying, okay, I'll take 3, but please just once, give me 6. Just once, give me 7, please.
It's almost to the point now when they get inside the 10-yard, they get first and goal. They're going for it on fourth down.
Okay, well, to your point, guess what? The Baltimore Ravens now have 39 red zone touchdown drives. That is by far number 1 in the National Football League. In goal-to-go situations, first and goal, 9, 8, 7, whatever, they have 27 touchdowns. That's by far number 1 in the NFL. Why is that? Because the quarterback is operating with such a high IQ. He's processing so quickly. He's making it look simple to get the ball in the end zone. It's not simple. It's hard.
It's very hard to get down there because the field is
Didn't it look like
compressed.
last night he was just saying, you know what? I think I'll throw it to Snead this time.
Yes.
Or I'll throw it to Mark Andrews.
And Skip, you know the thing is, it's almost like, late in situations, you go third down, and you're calling plays knowing that you're going for it on fourth down.
Yep.
I believe they get into the red zone, especially the goal-to-go situation. I believe they call in plays to know they're going for it on fourth down. Yeah. They have that much confidence in him. And they're so afraid. How do you, Skip, he get a step, he's going to beat you to the corner.
Yep.
You mess around and miss one responsibility, and here he's going going to find an open guy
Agreed.
that's wide open for a touchdown.
It's unbelievable.
What we're seeing, I don't want people to say, well, oh, anybody could. No. What you're seeing is very, very unique. And you might not see it again. Because the thing what's going to happen, Skipper, and it's his own fault. He's going to have so much success. It's kind of like Patrick Mahomes syndrome. Well, if you don't throw for 50 touchdowns and 10 interceptions every single year, what? Man, Lamar Jackson, what happened to Lamar? Nothing.
Like that's
a historic season. You don't have historic season.
Nope.
But, man, I've never seen anything like this, Skip. Did you see him last night? He brought jerseys on the field because he knew so many people was going to want his jersey.
Well, they had already requested.
How many, though, did he have? Because it was a ton.
Man, come on.
I love it.
It's the ultimate respect.
Yes.
Did you see what Tom Brady tweeted out? About
Tom Brady said you want to race it.
You want to race grass, but you wear rollerblades. And
unless he got on cement blocks, Tom, I still believe he's going to get you.
But if Tom Brady is tweeting it out, and so, I mean, everyone can't get enough of the guy. And it's like what you said.
I'm going to go get me old L. Jack jersey.
Really?
Yeah, go call it Kevin Byrne. I know you watching.
No mercy.
Did you know that as many as 7 out of 10 adults wished they played a musical instrument? Unfortunately, many never do because they think it's either too late for them to start or too expensive. Musician is an online music education platform rethinking the way people learn music. It's the fun, easy, and affordable way to learn guitar, piano, bass, or even singing. Just download the app to your desktop, tablet, or phone and start playing. Musician is perfect whether you're just starting out or have been playing for years. Enjoy thousands of popular songs and expertly crafted lessons and exercises across dozens of genres. Compared to private lessons, Musician is more affordable and lets you learn on your own schedule. You'll get bite-sized lessons, easy-to-follow instructions, and exercises tailored to your goals. Using Musician to learn an instrument like guitar or piano is much better than trying to teach yourself. So, if you've been wanting to learn an instrument or simply want some help getting back to playing, check out Musician. You can get an extended 14-day free trial of their Premium Plus package at musician.com/play. That's unlimited lessons and unlimited songs on as many instruments as you want for 2 whole weeks. Just go to musician.com/play to start your free trial today. That's YOUSICIAN.com/play.
No mercy.
The Patriots are 2-3 in their last 5 games after starting the season 8-0, and the majority of the blame has been pinned to an offense that has been struggling to put points on the board. Tom Brady and company ranked 30th out of 32 NFL teams in scoring since week 9, but players in New England are staying confident, with James White saying, quote, "Everybody sees light at the end of the tunnel." So, Shannon, can you see a light at the end of their tunnel?
Yeah. That's an oncoming train to run their butt over. That's what's at the end of the tunnel. Skip, you got what you got. Gronk ain't coming back. You can't get Amendola, Hogan. You got what you got. The Patriots want you, and people want you to believe that the Patriots are load managing, that they're just going to flip the switch come playoff time and boom, boom. No, this is it. This is what you have. You can't run the football. Tom Brady, and now you're asking Tom, because your offense is not big play, you're asking Tom to continuously go 13, 14, 17 plays to get you into the end zone. Skip, did you know that the defense have allowed 14 points in 3 games this year? Guess what their record is? Over. In the last 5 games, they're 2-3 in those games. One game, the defense gave up 10. The next game, that was to Philly. The next game, they gave up 9 to the Cowboys. And they won 17-10, they won 13-9. So when you give up more than 14, it's a struggle. And they just don't give up 14, Skip. They give up the 40s. They give up big numbers. And the Patriots can't match that, Skip. They don't have the personnel. The light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, if the defense is going to get those turnovers like they did early on, Skip, you remember the first 8 games, it seemed like every week they were getting 2-3 interceptions. They were getting scooping scores. Well, if you're going to get that, yeah, because the offense is not going to have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting. But if you're going to ask this offense to have to do some heavy lifting, and we knew this was going to happen, if they play a team that can score, that can get to 21, that can get to 24, it's going to be a struggle because they don't have, Skip, they can't hit you with one play over the top unless they gadget you. They can throw the ball, run the ball to the running back, and he throw it back to Tom Brady and Tom throw it down the field. But as far as just Tom dropping back and they getting 50 yards or 60-yard touchdown, Skip, that's not happening. So I don't see that light that's at the end of the tunnel that they're talking about. Look, if I were to look at this, Skip, I believe the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Texans do not fear the Patriots. It used to get to the playoff time. Man, I hope we don't have to play the Patriots. Whoo! Now, with that offense, I want to play them.
Can't fix it. They're done, right?
Skip, let me tell you what. Now, how many points of the defense? They're on as far as points allowed, they're averaging less than 13 a game. They've given up 14 points 3 times this year. They're over. Let that sink in for a second.
You already said that.
Okay.
So we got it.
So what's Tom Brady gonna do? So if the defense hold you to 14 or below, Tom Brady can get you 15, 16. But how many times they won a game when it's in the 20s?
Okay. So why is all that? Because right now Tom Brady is playing behind the worst offensive line he has ever played behind in his 20 years of pro football. Sunday, the Patriots were down to their third-string center, and we're not sure whether the second or third teamer will be able to play this week. And the Patriots are now plummeted down to 23rd in rushing, and they are by far number 1 in drops. Their receiving core, you could argue, is as bad as any receiving core in pro football.
Carson Wentz says, hold my beer.
They're saying 27. Well, again, despite that's injury related.
Yeah.
Not when you had the full complement, right? Okay, so right now Pro Football Focus says the Patriot receivers rank 22nd in separation. The best Patriot receiver gets double-teamed nearly every play, and that's Julian Edelman, and he's in his 11th year, and he is just beat all to hell because he is what I would call as high a contact receiver as there is out there. Because he gets hit nearly every time he catches the football. He gets hit twice or 3 times.
He does, Skip, but it's hard to not be a collision guy if you play the slot.
That is
because
correct.
you're going to be in a lot of contact because the guy's going to be right there on top of you.
He's obviously got big guts.
Yeah.
He's also got big drops this year. He leads the league with 11 drop passes. So can Tom trust that? Well, maybe not. James White, maybe. So those are the 2 high target receivers.
Correct.
Julian and James White. Tight ends as a group have the fewest. They have 1 touchdown pass as a group, so it's not exactly Rob Gronkowski. And I can make a case that the whole group is the worst group of tight ends in the league. And you look at what Lamar is playing with. Boy, every time I look up, another tight end is catching another big ball, right?
Andrews, Hurst, and Boyle.
Boy, they're pretty good.
They are.
Okay, so what does this all boil down to? There's only one hope. And I said it before, the day after the draft. N'Keal Harry is a stud. I don't know what's happened to him this year. He was limited in practice this week with what they put on the injury report as a hip injury. Is that what's going on here? I don't know because they're not very
let me ask you a question,
open
Skip.
about it.
How did he get hurt? He played 2 snaps, so what did he hurt? Running on the field?
Was he hurt already because he missed half the year with some foot injury?
Right.
But I don't know if it led to a hip injury.
Possibly.
Could have. I don't know. He played 2 snaps in that game against Kansas City, and I don't get it because
almost had a touchdown.
Yeah, we have seen by Patriot standards, 2 recent splash plays, and I'm putting big quotes around the splash. We saw N'Keal Harry catch a touchdown pass against Dallas.
Right.
It was the only touchdown in the game on a bad weather day, but he snatched it, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Went over the top.
And then we saw what should have been a touchdown against Kansas City. And they were the 2, where you sort of sat back and said, ooh, I kind of like that.
For sure.
So there's one guy on this whole team who might a little bit scare the rival defensive coordinator, and it's N'Keal Harry, who played 2 snaps in the last game.
Skip, just help me. This is why I just have a hard time, and I'm going back into my notes because, Jen, I write everything down. Every
very organized
production meeting and all my notes, I write them down. And I was trying to go back, and we've been on air for 3 years, and Tom Brady's won 2 Super Bowls. And I was trying to find where we had mentioned his offensive line. And I couldn't find it in any of my notes in the Chronicle. I got it 12, 2019. I went back to 18, 17, 16, and I didn't see anything. The thing that everybody says, Tom Brady can take any receiver and make it work. Now that Tom Brady can't make it work, it's the receiver's fault.
You know what?
You've told me all along for 20 years, Tom Brady can take chicken and make chicken salad out of it. Now he cannot.
Well, he did it earlier this year. He actually went out before a game and pointed up in the stands to this little guy whose name was Gunnar Olszewski.
Yeah.
He said, will you come down here and play for us? Yeah,
Stop
I will.
it.
And
I like
you know
that
what?
kid.
Gunnar was actually playing really well. He
bad.
could return punts and he could catch passes. He's on injured reserve. They lost another guy to injured reserve. Maybe Gunnar would have changed Tom Brady's life.
Skip, all I'm saying is, if you say the guy can do it, and then all of a sudden he isn't doing it, don't blame the receivers, because they're still bringing in the same caliber, the same level of receivers that Tom Brady has always had. You said this is Coach Belichick. N'Keal Harry is Coach Belichick's first round draft pick at the receiver position since he's been in New England.
That's correct.
So he's always taken receivers in the later round. And the ones that he's taken early has never panned out. So he's always gotten the undrafted free agents, or he made the trade for he signed Amendola via free agency from the Rams. But Wes Welker was a trade, but Wes was undrafted free agent. So he's always taken lower round draft picks or free agents, and Tom Brady has made them.
So wait a second. You just made the case that Belichick's inability to find or acquire receivers is a liability for Tom Brady over his career.
No,
right?
because Coach Belichick probably for the first time in his life was listening to what everybody said. Tom Brady can make it work. Tom Brady is next to Jesus. Because remember, Jesus took water and made it wine. And so Tom Brady can do that. So now all of a sudden, everybody come to drink wine, Jenny, and we still got water in the cup. Now we need to know what's on. Are you not Jesus anymore?
Well, at some point, you need just a little bit of help from somebody. You don't even have Gunnar anymore. So here's the point. You need N'Keal Harry to grow up right before your very eyes. It's the only hope this team has right now, is that suddenly, out of nowhere, against Cincinnati, which has given up the 31st most yards in the league, that N'Keal Harry catches 5 balls for 75 yards, and you say, aha, here they go.
This is going to come down, Skip. If the Patriots are to go where you believe and many think they can, this is going to be led by the defense. And they're going to have to limit people from scoring. They're going to have, if they're what people say they are, historic, they will have to be historic. Because I was on that Baltimore Ravens team. They were historic.
You did get carried to a Super Bowl.
Y'all don't do that, Skip. I mean, when that Ravens team gave up 16 total points in 4 games. That's historic.
Okay. So, Jenny ended our last conversation by saying Tom Brady did tweet about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I thought this was a hopeful sign that Tom kind of came out of hiding a little bit.
All of his doldrums.
This wasn't mopey Tom anymore. He was having a lot of fun. He was excited about watching Lamar. And he says, he's being self-deprecating. Me and Lamar in a 40, except on grass, he wears rollerblades.
Skip, a man, they say in Africa, they say if a black mamba were to bite you, he said the thing what you should do is just go sit up under a shade tree and die like a man. Be resigned to your fate.
Boy, I'd go to the hospital.
Tom Brady is resigned to his fate. He know what's happening because he has nothing that's on that roster currently.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless, like I said, if that defense is going to be historically great, like they give up 12 points a game, 12-8, 12-9 now, they're going to have to cut that in half. Unless they give short fields, because that's why, Skip, think about it. With 10:35 left in the game, Coach Belichick went for an all-out block. Because he says, my offense can't move the ball. I got to give them short fields. Okay. That's what he's saying.
Okay, so gut feeling right now. Patriots lose their first playoff game?
It all depends on the matchup.
Oh.
You could get, it's gonna if they mess
wouldn't be a bad match.
No. I mean, like I said, you mess around and get Houston Texans, a team that can score. Now you never know what Houston Texans, because we got Deshaun Watson, who was really I think he was Offensive Player of the Week, and then next week he comes and get outplayed by Drew Lock. So I don't really know what we're gonna get. But I tell you what, Kansas City having won in New England, Skip, it's an unbelievable feeling to win somewhere and have to go back there because you know you can do it.
Okay, well, the Texans know they just did it at home, right?
Because that's what happened to us in Tennessee, Skip. We had beaten Tennessee in Tennessee. We're the first team to beat them it used to be called Adelphi. Okay. We had to go back there in the divisional. Man, we just kicked them 4 weeks ago. We got something for you again.
I saw
Jeff Fisher, we got something for you again.
No mercy.
Let's talk about the Cowboys. They're looking to snap their 3-game losing streak this weekend, and their 6-7 record is one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this season, primarily because of the perception in the media that Dallas has the most talented roster in the NFL. But Troy Aikman spoke to a local radio station yesterday and explained that it may be time to reevaluate that claim. Take a listen.
Here locally, I mean, I listen to the various shows. I certainly read the newspaper, and the discussion is this team really as talented as what everyone thought coming into the season? And I've reached out to a lot of people around the league that have played the Cowboys and have studied them on film, and there are coaches that think this is an overrated roster.
Well, Shannon, how much truth is there to this?
That cut, Skip. That cut deep. That cut deep, Skip.
Maybe you, not me.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth in this, Skip, because it's an easy trap to fall into, Jenny, because you know why? You look at an offensive line, and you got 4 guys that's paid tops at their position. So you got your left tackle, your center, your right guard, your right tackle. They're top 3, top 4 at their position. You look at the running back, he's number 1 at his position. You go to the defensive side. You look at DeMarcus Lawrence, the highest paid defensive end in football. You look at Jalen Smith, now he's into the mix. So you look at these contracts, and people automatically think he makes $1 million. He makes $50 million. He's got to be good. No. And Jason Garrett gets the blowback because everybody says, well, look, Jason can't coach. What about the players that's not living up to that contract? Skip Bayless has told me their offensive line, week after week, the offensive line got their Royals' tails kicked.
Golden.
Yeah, no, you say golden. Yeah.
Gold. In overpaid.
Yeah. Got their golden tails kicked. You tell me it seems like the running back, the $90 million running back, is still running in Cabo sand. Mm-hmm. And DeMarcus.
That's a good line. Say that again.
Yeah, he running in Cabo sand.
That's funny.
And DeMarcus Lawrence, he refused. He say he just Lawrence now. He don't even call him at DeMarcus. He just call him Lawrence. And Jalen Smith, they're like. So that's what's happening, Skip, is that everybody, when you look at it from the outside and you see these big names and you see the big contracts that they're being paid, you automatically think that's talent. But that's not how it works. They have not performed. At some point in time, we need to hold players accountable for not living up to what they're being paid. Instead of, because Jason Garrett is really low-hanging fruit, it's easy to blame him. The offensive line has been a disappointment. If you want to say Zeke has been a disappointment, okay, so be it. But I tell you who the biggest disappointment is that defense. Skip, that defense has been abysmal.
It has.
And so there's no way around it to say, oh, man, they're Where? You make it seem like they got some Aaron Donalds over there. No, they don't. They don't have a Luke Kuechly. No. So we need to stop this, Skip, because every time you look at it, you're like, whoa, they got Zeke and yada, yada. You know, they talented. They're not. And I told you this. We need to stop saying talent. What are they winning with that talent? I don't think they're as talented as people, and I agree with Troy. I don't think they're as talented as people think they are, but because they get big dollars, Skip, high dollars, they're like, oh, they talented. That's not the case.
Yeah, you have said many times on the show this year, this is a loaded football team.
Skip, if you look, I mean, they have depth, they have everything, but you look at Byron Jones. Has Byron Jones played anything close to what he played like last year?
Yes. I think he has.
Oh, no.
Really?
Yes.
He picked the wrong, put it like this here. He picked the wrong year. He should have had the year he had last year. He should have had it this year, and he'd have been the highest paid DB coming out. Still might, because he's going to be a free agent, and Dallas has shown no interest. But, Skip, that offensive line, Skip, your defense, you mean to tell me that they played to what you thought they would, considering that you've seen snapshots of it?
But that's not overrated. That's definitely overpaid, underachieving, but not overrated. We're talking about everybody swung and missed. They thought so-and-so was this good, and he's really average. That's what you're talking about, overrated.
Maybe, Skip, at some point in time, they were. But as his age and attrition, you see the offensive line is starting to...
Or what do you say about dragging that bag behind you? You get your money, and you lose your edge. Right?
Some do.
Okay, some do, and I'm afraid a whole bunch of these have. Okay, if you want me to boil it all the way down, there are 2 positions on my defense that are way overrated, but I never rated them in the first place. The safeties, that's an ironically named position because they're not very safe, neither one of them.
No.
And Jeff Heath, I think, is going to be back this week, but he's got 2 banged up shoulders.
I don't really know how you play with banged up shoulders.
You know what? Have I told you from the start? He tries hard.
He's a try-hard guy.
He tries hard, but he's he's below average.
Right. He'll be where he's supposed to be, Skip. He won't make any wild plays. He's not going to be Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu, anything like that.
No.
But he'll be where he's supposed to be,
right.
and he'll make the play that he's supposed to make. Nothing spectacular,
no.
but just a solid football player.
Xavier Woods is just average at best. So you have average, which was why Jerry he came within like a hair at the trade deadline of acquiring Earl Thomas a year ago. Remember that? I think the rug got jerked out from under him where he said we thought it was for a 1 and all of a sudden it's supposed to be for 2 1s or a 1 and a
3,
2 or something. And so Jerry got his pride up and said, okay, that's the end of that deal. And then they kicked the tires of Jamal Adams this year, and I thought, maybe I'm not a big Jamal Adams fan, but still,
he's better than
big
anything.
upgrade over these two.
Yes.
He could play by himself in the secondary and be better than these two combined. So now that's where it's overrated. Okay, those two. Other than that, what did we see from those 2 kid linebackers last year? I'm talking about Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, who now looks like just another Smith. That's how he's been playing lately. Leighton Van Der Esch has got a neck injury, and to your point, this could be career-threatening at least, and it sounds like he's going to be gone for the year.
Yeah, Skip, it's kind of hard. It's kind of like when you're talking about Jeff Heath with shoulders. It's kind of hard to have shoulder injuries and the neck injuries in a game when you use your neck and your shoulders.
Yeah, where you're supposed to be a high-contact tackle.
You're a linebacker. Right. You use your neck.
And yet, who had missed the most tackles on the Dallas Cowboys before he got hurt was Leighton Van Der Esch. He still leads the league in tackles, and he's missed the last 4 games. Leads the team in tackles. Missed tackles, and he's missed the last 4 games. So the point is, what do we see? Again, I'm just going on what I saw last year. Remember against Drew Brees, those 2 kid linebackers? They took the game over.
Right.
Remember against Russell Wilson and that vaunted number 1 rushing attack? Those 2 kids took the game over.
Right.
So does that mean they're overrated? Or what happened? Did Jalen Smith get his money and lose a little edge?
Well, maybe we jumped the gun. Maybe Skip, we heaped too much praise and said, look at them, and we didn't let this thing play out a little longer than what we should have. We should have let it go a year or two, at least the bare minimum 2 years. Okay. Because early on, Skip, I agree with you. They were flying around making plays. Jalen Smith was knocking people out.
And we're talking about sideline to sideline, running people down.
Skip, he doesn't look this. If I was him, I would probably lose like 10 pounds. Okay. Because he looks a little heavy to me.
He might. I'm with you on that. And then we get to DeMarcus Lawrence, who used to be DeMarcus Lawrence. He's a Pro Bowl pass rusher. He deserved his
last 2 in 1 year. He was all pro.
Okay, all pro. Where is he now? I don't know. I keep telling you, my pass rush comes and goes, but it mostly just goes because it's not there. I'll see flashes from Robert Quinn, but there's a reason 2 teams let him go. There's a reason, okay? But he'll give you bursts.
He'll give you a flash, yes.
Here and there. Michael Bennett has given them a lot of little flashes, but is he a take over the game player at this stage and age? No, he's not.
I think Robert Quinn would be better, Skip, if you only played him, say, like 30 snaps, and those snaps were where he could just rush the passer. When you ask him to try to play 45, 50s, maybe a lot of the snaps, teams can wear on him because he's not that big of a guy. He's more of at this juncture of his career, he's a specialist, and he will perform better in that kind of a role. But I agree with you, Skip. I just think the thing is that when we look at this team and we look at look at that offensive line. Skip, the offensive line has gotten old.
Okay, it has, and plus, what can be the worst debilitating injury you can have, especially for a big old offensive lineman? Ty Smith has a back that plagues him. Zach Martin has a back that plagues him. And if you have to crouch over and get down in your stance and you can't get out of your stance, we got problems. Yes. Right?
Yes.
And God bless Travis Frederick, but he came off this syndrome, and it was hard. And a lot of people think he's the comeback player of the year, but he's not wreaking quite the same havoc he used to wreak.
When we look at the Dallas offensive line, Skip, you remember in 2014, you remember in 2016, they were opening gaping holes.
Gaping holes. And they did it one time this year against the Giants at the Giants. And Zeke said, I've never seen bigger holes than this since Pop Warner.
We used to see that 6, 7, 8 times a year.
I agree.
Now we get it one time a year.
Okay. So, again, not overrated, but old. Just getting older. I'll give you that. That's possible.
Skip, the thing about sports, that I love about this, you can talk about it, but eventually you're going to have to show me what you're talking about. DeMarcus Lawrence doing all this talking, Skip, but at some point in time, I'm gonna watch the game.
You are. I agree.
And I'm going to need to see what you sell, what you trying to sell me. I need to know if I need to buy it. Right now, I'm going to pass, bro, because I don't see it.
And by the way, the guy in this organization who talks the biggest and the most is the owner GM. And I'm looking at all the contracts he's doled out, and I'm saying too much, right? Overpaid.
Yeah.
Well, some of that's got to fall on the owner.
Sure.
Yeah, Skip. I mean, he's paying them because I believe every guy that he paid had earned that contract. But the obligation, I mean, see, this is why they say we don't like to give guaranteed contracts. Every other sport, for the most part, every other sport, you look at basketball, you look at baseball, they're getting $324, $245.
Yeah, I got it.
But football players, if the guy doesn't do a supersede what he did to get that contract, see the money, he ain't the same.
Huh.
So the final irony is the one player I trust the most is my quarterback who's still playing on a fourth-round rookie contract.
The irony. You're right.
Skip. What happened when he get that $40 million? What he gonna do when he get 100? He gonna get 115 guaranteed.
I don't care. I care only about $4.25 on Fox on Sunday, game of the week.
Get back on track.
You shouldn't feel bad then when he catch this L because he only making $2 million.
But
he
the
catch an L making $2 million.
I just worry about my receivers catching balls.
No, don't worry about that. You worry about your guy getting him the ball instead of doinking it to him down.
No mercy.
Lamar Jackson used both his legs and his arm in a 42-21 blowout win over the Jets. Lamar ran for 86 yards on 8 carries last night, which was enough to break Michael Vick's single-season QB rushing record. Lamar's 33 passing touchdowns on the year not only leads the NFL, but also ties the Ravens' single-season franchise record for touchdowns. Baltimore not only clinched the AFC North last night, but can clinch home field throughout the playoffs as soon as this weekend if Kansas City and New England both lose. So, Shannon, does Lamar make the Ravens the runaway favorites to win the Super Bowl?
No, but I think they do deserve to be the favorite considering that they beat some of the top teams they beat, especially in the AFC. They've beaten New England. They've beaten the Texans. They lost to Ironically, they lost to Kansas City in Kansas City, but Kansas City would have to come to them. They've beaten the 49ers in the NFC, Skip. They've beaten the Seattle. I think they definitely deserve to be the favorite, but not the runaway, because we've seen the 49ers play them head-to-head in their field. Obviously, it was the conditions, but the conditions were what they were for both teams. It was a 20 held them to 20 points.
17.
Right. So the Saints can put points on the board. The question is that I believe for you to beat the Ravens, you're going to probably have to get to probably 30, 31 points. But you're going to have to hopefully get a turnover, because what the Ravens can do, Skip, when you can run the ball for 200 yards, they're going to minimize your chances of putting points on the board. That's what they do. They hog the ball.
Yep.
Last night, I think the Jets got them because they scored so quick. I mean, you think of a running team, and then 5 plays there in the end zone, 7 plays there in the end zone. You think a running team, Skip, you think it 12, 14, 16 play drives. They can do that, but they also got big play potential, hence Seth Roberts over the top, Hollywood Brown over the top. He missed a very easy throw. Could have had like a big, long touchdown to the big tight end, Andrews.
He did.
But, Skip, no. Should they be the favorite? Yes. Runaway, lock, stock, and barrel? No, because I believe there are 2 teams. I believe the Saints and the 49ers can play them close. And then in the AFC, I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be tough for them no matter where they play, especially if it's in Baltimore. I still believe the Chiefs will cause them a problem.
So, I hate to admit this publicly, but right now I see a runaway favorite.
A runaway?
The great thing about your sport of football, especially pro football, that I love the most is it's such a team game. There are 53 men on this team, 53. But every once in a while, out of nowhere, the 53 can unite and ignite. And it's almost magical, inexplicable how it happens. And it's this contagious chemistry, camaraderie. And I'm seeing it spilling all over these Ravens right now. Because you brought it up, just how much fun they're having. It's coming so easy for them. And they love their young quarterback. And they're playing hard for him. They're making plays for him because he's making a whole lot of plays for them.
Correct.
And they're just feeding off each other. And I saw a Pro Football Focus piece the other day that said the defense is revolutionizing the way you play defense, because they lost their best pass rushers, obviously.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it's the back 7 that is dominating as opposed to the front 4.
Right.
But they blitz like crazy. Wink Martindale's got them flying.
Because think about it, Skip, they lost Za'Darius Smith and they lost Suggs.
And they lost Suggs.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But they knew, I mean, they couldn't.
Stalwart pass rushers.
Yes.
They were your building block pass rushers.
Yes.
So you'd say, now what? Guess what? And I'm not the biggest Marcus Peters fan, but he will make key plays, and he is fitting into that secondary.
He make a play. Because he thought he had a pick last night.
Yeah.
But Skip, here's the thing. With the way he plays football, you got to be careful in the playoffs because you go for a pick and the guy catches it. And you see what happened. He tight ropes. Now, he ran out of room, but he almost went to the distance on that. And that's what he's a feast or famine corner. And it's good when he's feasting because he'll make you pay. Ask Russell Wilson. He caught a couple of guys sleeping on him. But that style scares me in the playoffs, Skip, because it's one game. You know, it's not like baseball or basketball where you got to beat me 4 times. It's one game. And we've seen a funny bounce here or there.
I got it. Well, it brings me back to my Super Bowl pick, which was Patriots. Now, it's pretty clear the Patriots are going to have to go through Baltimore again.
Yep.
They went there on a Sunday night, and they basically got their doors blown off, right?
They did.
And it was 37-20, and Lamar was great. He's the brighter the lights, prime time, boy, he is really good.
He is.
Absolutely.
So can I make any case right here, right now, that the Patriots could go to Baltimore and pull off what I would consider right now a huge upset? Wouldn't you call that a huge upset?
Would you say it would be bigger than what they did against Kansas City last year?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
And I know Patrick Mahomes was the runaway MVP last year, but
Got another one.
Okay, they had played him and beaten him
Right.
at home, and they had outscored him at home. So
Right.
I think they had some confidence
Right.
we can move the ball
Right.
on that defense. I don't know if they have any confidence against this defense. And furthermore, and worse, I'm not sure Belichick has a whole lot of confidence that you can slow down that juggernaut.
It would be very interesting to see how he plays because if you remember, Skip, when they played the first time on the Sunday night, they played a lot of cover 2. They played a lot of zone coverages. Then they show back up in Kansas City, and all they play is man.
They did.
They played man. They played zero coverage.
Yep.
And it took a half for them to realize you do know they're playing straight man coverage. They're playing zero coverage, and they're bringing people down. So Andy picked up on it. But, Skip, I would never play zero coverage against this kid because if you miss him, it's over. Your guys are running with their backs to him. And so by the time they realize you say turn around, he's 25 yards deep. And good luck tackling him with a wide open field. I don't care who your DBs are. In a wide open field, they're not going to tackle him, Skip, one-on-one.
So is it possible the genius Bill Belichick kept most of his stuff under wraps?
Maybe.
On that Sunday night at Baltimore, was he already gauging, looking ahead, thinking we're going to have to come back here and beat them because we're not going to be able to
Skip,
outplay them?
I do think he thought they would probably have to see them again. I don't know if he thought they would probably have to go back there, considering that, like, hey, we got the Cowboys. We feel we can beat them.
Yep.
The Houston Texans.
I think they thought they could win there.
Right,
Yep.
because they own the Texans.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, now it seems...
I think they thought they could beat Mahomes at Foxborough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again.
But it seems like now all the Ravens have to do is win one of their last 2 games, and they have home field advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, everybody's... But, Skip, the thing is, you don't do what they can do in basketball. Load man, we going to get geared up for the playoff. That ain't what you do. You play, you put your best foot forward. But you said something very interesting about how the team galvanized. And you, Skip, having been in locker rooms that's won championships, the team is really close. We did things together. We go to the movies. Yeah. I mean, it would be 5, 6 o'clock at night. And guys like, man, you're going to get me divorced. We're playing cards. We're doing things as a team. With same thing when I went to Baltimore. We did things as a team together. We'd go over to Ray's house. We laugh. His mom would cook, and we do things like that. So the team got really close. That's a really close team.
It's happening.
You can see it.
Yes.
Right before your very eyes.
Yes.
So my bottom line to this is I can only see one team beating this team in the playoffs, and that includes the Super Bowl, and that's New England, just because they have a history of figuring it out. I just don't know if they have the pieces to figure it out with. But I don't think San Francisco or New Orleans can beat this team in the Super Bowl. Wow. I just don't.
Yeah, it's going to be tough on the new. But the thing is, what they can do to Drew Brees is they can limit his possessions.
Yeah.
They can hold the ball for 34, 35 minutes, and I don't know. And when you hold the ball that long, Skip, you have to take unnecessary risk because you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get to come back. The question is for the Patriots, can they hold them to less than 20-plus points, Skip. Because that's the thing, because you know they're going to move the ball, they're going to score. Do you believe that Tom Brady can in Baltimore go score 30? With what he has right now, Skip, because Gronk ain't coming.
I can't see it.
Because that's what it's going to have to be. Either the defense hold him in check or Tom Brady wins a shootout. And I just don't know if he can win a shootout with what he has.
I would agree with that. To your initial point, I think the only way that you're going to beat Baltimore at Baltimore is Baltimore is going to have to beat itself.
Yeah.
They're just going to have to self-destruct. They're going to have to turn it over however it happens.
They do a great job.
Bad game.
You think about it, Skip, as much as they run the football, they don't put it on the ground.
They do not.
And think all that, Lamar is in the belly and, you don't know where I keep it.
It amazes me with his decision-making, his poise, and how careful he is with the football. He protects the football in high-risk situations.
Right.
I don't know how they do it, but he's doing it at the highest
You better hope for some bad weather. Maybe you get 40. Maybe you get the wind that you had in Buffalo with the rainstorm that you got against San Francisco. And you make it a neutral playing field, and you hope you get some turnovers here or there. But other than that, man, they're tough out. They're tough out.
It feels like it's a Ravens kind of year.
Something is going on there that's pretty special.
No mercy.
In order to snap Dallas out of its recent 3-game losing streak, Jason Garrett led a unique film session for his team. Garrett showed a highlight reel of the Cowboys making plays from the past 2 seasons to remind the team just how good they are. Garrett apparently did the same thing after Dallas' previous 3-game losing streak earlier this year, and the team responded with their best win of the season, a 37-20 win over the Eagles, which we know well around here. We know that game. Shannon, how much will this help?
Well, it can't hurt. And now I was going to say, well, hell, he should have done it earlier. But clearly he did do it earlier. And I guess it resonated for one game. It didn't resonate much longer than that, Skip. I think it helps a lot in a lot of ways, Skip, because when you lose, you automatically think we did everything wrong. All 3 phases, we did nothing right. But you can pull plays, special teams, defense, offense, and show, we can do some good things. I remember going into our first Super Bowl for the playoffs in '97. Mike had a montage. It was about 4 or 5 minutes long.
Mike Shanahan.
And it was set to the music When We Were Kings.
Oh, wow.
Skip. When Mike cut that tape off and cut them lights on, I'm an emotional guy. I mean, I had goosebumps. I say, ain't nobody beating us. Nobody's beating us, Skip.
Wow.
And hopefully it resonates with them like it did with us. Because you are good. Look, I understand you've lost some games. And, we had, remember, Skip, we had lost 3 or 5 that in '97.
Yep.
After starting 9-1. But Mike's like, hold on, guys. I need to remind you. Look at the plays the defense making. Look at the special teams big hits. Shannon, look at the plays. TD, look at we're a damn good football team. You just need to know you're a good football team. And seeing that reminded us. Well, maybe seeing this montage will remind, we got playmakers. We can make plays. Let's see.
You respected Mike Shanahan. In fact, you've admitted you feared Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
Mike Shanahan was the strongest voice in your locker room. Yours was very strong, but his was stronger. He even, he was one octave above you in the locker room. The buck stopped with him. My problem with Jason Garrett is this locker room has tuned him out. They don't hate him and they don't love him. They're not going to quit on him, but they're not going to try to save his job either because he is a non-entity, non-factor. So whatever he does, and again, I appreciate the attempt here, and maybe it will be a good thing, but I doubt it'll have any impact. I hope it does, but I sincerely, seriously doubt it'll have any impact. It's just not what he does or who he is. Mostly they just tune it out. And I can't get out of my psyche the series I watched 2 years ago, 2017, on Amazon called All or Nothing, where they did the whole year inside the Dallas Cowboys. And there was endless footage, endless footage, of Jason Garrett addressing the entire football team in their little theater of their meeting room where they have it tiered,
They have stadium-style seats.
Stadium-style seats. And they would have the camera zoom in on various players' faces. They'd be doodling. They'd be just gazing into the distance. Their minds would be wandering all over the country probably. But they were not listening to what their head coach was saying because it just drones on and on. He's just vanilla. He's red, but he's red vanilla.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with it. You need external motivation, which is why I opened the show by telling you this is a hit bottom week where the overexposure that this team has to media attention can turn into a good thing because it can go from turning you into fat cats into, as I told you earlier, like alley cats. Because at some point, all that bombardment of media attention is so severely negative and it's so relentlessly negative. You missed 19 tackles and Jerry Jones is going to fire Jason Garrett. He's the lamest duck who ever waddled to a football game. Right. And with all that, at some point, it's external motivation to where it finally just detonates in the locker room. We're sick and tired of hearing about how shameful we are, how we've embarrassed the tradition of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, that's what it takes.
Well, Skip, here's the thing. The problem that you run into is that Jerry has robbed Jason of his ability to govern.
Okay.
It's like, Skip, it's like two parents.
Yep.
If one parent says, no, you can't do it, and I go ask the other parent and the parent says, yes, I can, basically you rob the parent that said no of his or her ability to have the same influence. Well, see, the players know now, if I say something to Jason and Jason says no, I'm going to Jerry. Man, first of all, if you'd ever tried to go behind Mike's back and talk to Mr. B about something, Mike, you were gone.
I got it.
So
you're right.
There's a fine line here, and the thing is, Skip, like Mike, we'd be at practice, and Mike would ask somebody, okay, if this guy does this, what do you got? Well, you better be able to tell him on command. Because he does. He's like, well, what the hell did you do last night? You been studying your playbook?
I got it.
He kept you on pins and needles because you never know. He walked through the locker room and asked you, what's going on. Your playbook, you better not go out to Skip. You can do whatever you want to do. But you take your ass out there in that field and make a mistake, you're going to have to answer to him.
You just described Jimmy Johnson that I covered in the first go-around with Jerry.
Mike, what about that bull? Hey, Mike, he didn't make Shannon have a good old time. But when it comes time to play, you better be ready to play. When it comes time to practice, you better be ready to practice.
Got it. So what could Jason Garrett have done that would ignite this team this week? He could make a dramatic, team-shocking, strategic or lineup change that he is not allowed to make.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Let's just say, for instance, that he announced to the team on Wednesday that Jason Witten has been demoted and Blake Jarwin will start and finish the football game, at tight end. He will be our starting tight end. That's a shakeup, man. That's like you're looking sideways like, seriously? Okay. But would he be allowed to make that change? Would Jerry allow that to happen?
Skip, that happened. We were playing. Michael Dean Perez, our starting. He went to the Pro Bowl a couple of years he's been there. Yeah. Mike cut him.
Okay.
3 games left in the season. Mike cut him.
Beautiful.
And guess what?
Shook you up.
Like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Mike cutting people this late in the season?
Yep.
Veterans?
Okay. I think right now I love Jason Witten for what he has done, but not for what he is doing.
Blake Jarwin should be starting.
He should be starting, okay? But
because he gives you more pop. He gives you more bang for your buck.
He does.
You can get you're going to get a for sure 3-yard, 5-yard, wherever Jason is, that's where he's going to catch it. That's where he's going to be.
Okay.
Blake Jarwin got ability to get you past that.
Well, Dak has called him maybe the best athlete on the team. We'll utilize it. But unfortunately, there's a legend at tight end, and Jerry loves that legend. Yep. And Jerry was the one who brought him back this year, and the legend's going to play.
Right.
You welcomed him back with open arms.
Yeah.
That's the situation.
Okay.
No mercy.
But we're super excited to see this famous face finally, right?
I think this is a star of the Indiana Pacers. I think this is someone who had a rough year. I honestly think it's Victor Oladipo. Boom.
Who are you? Take it off. Take it off. Oh! You're right, kid. NBA All-Star and Indiana Pacer, Victor Oladipo.
And we are now
Here he
joined
is.
by the thingamajig himself. Oh, Pacers guard,
by the way,
two-time
he
NBA
has
All-Star.
out-dripped me today.
Yes.
That's some drip.
Yeah, he need a slippery wet floor sign around here, Skip. He got that ice for real.
Good job.
Victor Oladipo, welcome to Undisputed. And yes, that looks very nice. And what a great singer. It was really fun to watch you. Just tell us a little bit about the experience and what it was like.
It was different. Obviously, the year had been kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do something different and kind of do something fun. And essentially, that's what it was for me. So I had
Get
a
your
good
mind
time.
off the injury, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So it was
Torn
good.
quad.
Yeah.
So that costume, thingamajig, it's a huge costume. How long did it take to get into that costume?
Man, it takes a good 10, 15 minutes every day to get into the costume. They have people on site helping me get into it. I think the hardest part was putting the mask on. It's a lot taller than me, honestly. So putting it on, I couldn't really breathe, can't really see. It's really hot in there. But after a while, you get used to it and you become a majig.
You became a majig. Did you worry about your injured quad while you're in that giant costume?
Yeah, definitely. I try not to move a lot. If you notice, the other contestants move a whole lot more than I did. And if you also notice in the costume, there's a cut on my right, on my right knee.
That could have been a little
right furry cut.
tip off.
So it's a little tip off, but I don't think people notice that.
No.
Well,
Go ahead. So you injured, and you said that we were talking off camera. You said you kind of knew you're going for a steal against the Raptors, and you kind of knew as soon as you hit the floor, you knew something was wrong, and you kind of knew what it was.
Yeah, definitely. I had been having problems prior to, when I was going for the steal and I felt like my kneecap touched the floor.
Right.
It felt like it just fell off my body. So as I was tumbling over and I sat there, I immediately, if you watch the replay, I immediately take my knee pad and I take it over my knee and I see a big dent in between my quad and my kneecap. So right then and there, I knew it was over. So
it is rare this happened to Tony Parker. It happened to Charles Barkley. It ended pretty much both of their careers.
Yeah.
So God bless you coming back in the middle of your career.
Thank you.
But you do have another career you could pursue because you now have 2 albums out and you pretty much stole the Masked Singer show because you can flat out get it singing.
A little bit.
Yes, you can.
A little bit.
So how much do you want that to be your second career or even maybe a first career in some ways?
I don't know, Skip, honestly. At first it was just a hobby.
Right.
Something my mama made me do when I was growing up at church. Like,
Right.
go sing, boy. And then after a while, it was like, share your gift, share your gift, share your gift. And ever since then, it's like, we want more music. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe after, my long basketball career is over. Right?
You bought a karaoke king. Hey, take the mic.
Well, he doesn't need karaoke. I mean, he's just
Well, I'm just saying.
king.
I mean, if we get a real, we could do this.
I know, but this man is a balladeer because you can sing some ballads. Those are some beautiful.
Oh, so he want to be all soulful. He want to be Luther Vandross, Teddy P, all them.
He does. And he will
R&B.
So what makes you happier, singing or playing basketball?
Basketball is my first love, for sure.
Is it? Okay.
I've been playing that since I was 4. I've been singing since I was like 7. So basketball is my love. I love music, obviously. I love singing and everything like that, but there's nothing like busting somebody on that floor. So that's where my heart lies.
If you could do a duet with someone, collab, who would it be with?
Probably Drake. I would do a song with Drake just because,
The Baby, where it's at right now, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great rappers right now. The Baby, Roddy Ricch, there's Future, everybody. It's whoever's willing to do one with me. So.
Well, 2 Chainz chipped in on your first EP,
James.
right?
Yeah, that was all right too.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Can you rap as well as sing?
No, I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper.
You're right.
Don't let no one else. I'm not a rapper.
Huh.
Everyone, Dame got that.
Dame's got that.
Lil Will. There's some other people out there that can rap, but me, nah. I'm a singer.
But is the ballads, the Luther, the Barry Whites, is that in vogue now? Because it seems like you either rap or you hit the pop.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's not as much, I guess you could say, ballads and R&B out right now, but there's still people who love it.
Yeah.
You gotta give it.
That's all I listen to. I listen to the groove. That's it for me.
So, should the Lakers now be the prohibitive favorite to win this year's championship?
Why?
Good question.
I mean, everything's up in the air, man. It's a long year. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. So, I think it's way too early to dub anyone. So.
Even the Clippers, because everybody talking about the Clippers. They load managing,
everybody's
and so they
talking
just
about the Lakers.
everybody talking about the Clippers. They Kawhi, he load managing, PG load managing, everybody load managing and getting their head buzzed, but they gonna turn it on come playoff time.
Again, it's a long year, so I mean they doing what's best for their team and their players, so they think that's what's gonna work for them, but. At the end of the year, anything is possible. The Pacers will be healthy, though. Fully healthy.
There you go.
What you trying to say? You gonna be?
I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, hold on. They got that 6'11" guy up in Milwaukee.
The Pacers will be healthy, though.
Well, does that include Mr. Oladipo in that health?
We'll see.
We'll see. Is it a goal?
Yeah. I mean, I plan on coming back this year at some point, so we'll see.
If you had to put a percentage on it, where do you think you are? 75, 80?
I'm not sure. Probably around there. Maybe a little more. We'll see. But I think the biggest thing is just with this injury, because it's so unique, you got to listen to your body more than you listen to your mind. Right. Your mind is like, let's go. But your body's like, no.
What did the doctors tell you that performed the surgery? How long did they say what's normal for this type of injury?
At first it was like 6 to 8 months, but everybody's different, everybody's unique. I think when Tony did it, he kind of came back in like 7.5 months.
It was way too fast.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, I'm kind of like a case study because, I'm so young and it doesn't really happen to a lot of people my age. So for me, I'm just kind of take the easy way and just kind of just take it easy. And when the time is right, I'll know.
By the way, Tony Parker rushed back for this guy named Kawhi Leonard, who was quitting on my Spurs at that point. I'm just throwing that out. No, you don't have to comment, but that's exactly what happened. And it did not work. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you haven't gotten over that.
So, I'll never get over it. So, speaking of Lakers, Clippers, I know it's way early, but from what you've seen so far, which team is better? So far.
Who has a better record?
Well, you know who has.
Well, I mean, right now, the Lakers probably would be the better team. They're playing better right now, but, the load management kind of is a different thing, so
there's some bull jive in it. So go ahead, you can say some bull jive.
So the Clippers, so the Clippers aren't fully loaded every game, but, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the Christmas Day matchup. I think
you got it. So, speaking of another team, the Houston Rockets, you're going to have some insight into that because you did play a whole year alongside one Russell.
Oh, yes, I did.
Right?
Definitely, yeah.
And you did pretty well, and he did really well because that was his first breakthrough year in which he averaged a triple-double. How do you think it is working out so far between him and his old friend James Harden?
I think they're doing pretty well. Once you get those two together, they're both such alpha males. Right. So it's gonna take time for both of them to kind of figure out, whose turn is it to be the alpha dog in certain moments.
True.
So I think after a while it'll click and they'll figure it out, and eventually they might be able to do something special. Who knows?
It's always going to be James Harden. The dude's averaging 39.
Yeah, but them double teams is coming. And
but Russ is doing okay. He's averaging 23, 8, and 7. That's not chicken feed numbers.
But okay, talk about LeBron. You got to be surprised. Here's a guy that's in the 17th season, about to be 35 at the end of the month. Are you surprised that he's playing this well?
It's unreal what he's doing at his age, man, and it seems like he's getting better, not slowing down.
I appreciate that.
I know, but as Victor said, we're way.
Oh, now we earn. Now we want to be earning the season.
Yeah. We're not even to Christmas.
Not even yet.
Victor said he's looking forward to that matchup. We are rooting for you though to get healthy.
We are,
and we can't wait to see you back on the court. But really well done. It was fun to watch you this season, and
job.
thank you for joining us. And just a reminder to all the Masked Singer fans at home: check out the 2-hour season finale next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Fox. Then season 3 will premiere after the Super Bowl on Fox in February. And apparently Shannon trying to get on the show. So, trying.
Yeah.
He's trying. He's doing whatever he can.
No mercy.
It's been about a month since Colin Kaepernick's NFL workout in Atlanta, and Cap hasn't drawn any contract offers from the workout, which his camp moved from the Falcons facility to a nearby high school just hours before its scheduled start time. According to reports, one of Kaepernick's biggest supporters, Jay-Z, was very involved in setting up the original workout. Jay-Z has been working closely with the NFL on its social justice initiatives since early August. And we're now joined by professor and author Michael Eric Dyson, who has recently written a book on Jay-Z. This is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here, always.
It's always a pleasure to have you. You're one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Thank you, sir.
So is Jay-Z.
Yes.
And obviously, we all know now that he has a role with the NFL. How much of a role did he have in prompting that quote-unquote and finally ill-fated workout that Colin had in Atlanta?
He made all the difference. I mean, we know for 3 years Colin Kaepernick has been out of work unjustly, unfairly denied opportunity to exercise his craft and ply his wares on a gridiron for no other reason than he took a knee to protest racial oppression, black suffering, and the trauma that black people endured. That's clear. But it's also clear that the NFL had made no gestures toward reconciliation, not finding a way to do so. Jay-Z's presence made all the difference in the world, negotiating behind the scenes. This is what I tell people. You protest outside, you raise the concern, you tell people what's wrong. When they say, well, how do we change it? You got to go inside and help negotiate that. Jay-Z did just that. First, he was on a song saying, tell the NFL, we're in stadiums too. We don't need you to appear there. And he wore a Kaepernick jersey. Now, people said, is he selling out? No, he's understanding the transition between Starsky and Hutch, Batman and Robin, inside, outside, Steph Curry and LeBron on the inside. So he then goes inside to negotiate, to say, create space and opportunity for this unjustly aggrieved young man and give him that opportunity. So he was deeply and profoundly involved. Without Jay-Z, I suspect the opportunity would not exist.
And furthermore, how disappointed was Jay-Z from what you hear and how it did not turn out?
He's definitely disappointed. Disappointed not because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a righteous grievance. He does. Not because he wasn't the victim of collusion. He was. Not because his cause was not just, but because strategy is just as critical at some points as the substance of your argument. And I'm from an older generation, right? I'm 61 years old. And I know that younger black people sometimes think, well, it is unfair to have to do certain things. Like when the police stop us, is it fair that young black men in particular and young black women have to behave in a different fashion than their counterparts? No, it's not fair, but it's real. So Jay-Z understands, as I do from an older generation, strategically, you got to figure out your way. You can't get a freedom scholarship from Pharaoh's school. Pharaoh ain't in the business of making free men. Pharaoh's in the business of making slaves. So you understand that from the get-go, and you have a different expectation. So you use your position to challenge the authorities in such a fashion. I think Colin Kaepernick, who is an amazingly iconic and heroic figure, also perhaps could have used some strategy sessions where you figure out, you don't have to show up in a shirt that says Kunta Kinte. Now, that's your freedom. That's your freedom to do so. But, you can go on a ship that is helmed by a captain. And you can liberate that ship and say, I now am the captain, and throw the captain overboard. But you've liberated yourself into bondage if you don't know where you're going. Now, it is not that he doesn't know where he was going, but to extend the analogy, Colin Kaepernick might have said, let me try a Disney shirt. Let me go in with, hey, boys and girls, I'm Americana. And get in there like Samson, since we both, all of us read the Bible, and then destroy the pillars from within. Figure out a way to penetrate to the heart of the matter and then leverage the authority you have and do what you have to do. So it doesn't have to be either or, but both and. I just think the strategy might have been beefed up a bit in consultation with others.
You just echoed what I said when Skip and I have been talking about this since this has transpired. And then it seems like he was so combative. NFL, you've been running. NFL, you've been hiding. At that point in time, you want to come off as a sympathetic figure, not as a combative figure, or as a militant figure. And I agree with you. The shirt. Why? Look, if I'm going for a job interview, I can dress any kind of way I want to. But the likelihood of me dressing a certain type of a way, they're looking at that.
It is, and it's unfair. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers shows up with that, that's fine. And so you're not Aaron Rodgers at this point. You're not Tom Brady at this point. So the reality is, you're on the outside trying to get in. You've been unjustly put out. Let's understand. We understand it's difficult
about it.
But at the same time, you know what the deal is. Don't expect a certain kind of outcome that you know is already not forthcoming. You use everything to your advantage to give them no excuse. There is nothing you can say to me. I'm not going to antagonize them. It is, after all, a job tryout.
Right.
Yeah. And at that level, you got to understand, whether fair or not, those are the rules. And that's what I tell my son. You show up under the conditions that are demanded by the people from whom you seek employment. Mm-hmm. And then when you get in there, you can change the rules from within, and you can alter the situation. But in the meantime, you got to play the game that's before. You got to deal with the defense gives you.
Right.
Okay. Was it possible that by that point, Colin was so discouraged about the battle over what the conditions would be, over the agreement he was going to have to sign, that he protested by wearing the T-shirt?
Of course, I can understand that, but it's self-sabotage at that level, right? The thing is that, look, he's a young man, 29 years old. Let me even be more frank. I was at an event with Tyler Perry out in Atlanta where he opened his studios. Fantastic. And Kaepernick comes up to me and says, I need to straighten you out. I said, fine. A lot of people around me, oh, my God, you're Michael Eric Dyson. I said, I ain't got no ego. I understand what this is. I said, sir, but this is the thing, Mr. Kaepernick. You have my number. You use my number to get me to retweet your post, but when I'm asking you for substance and engagement and conversation, ain't forthcoming. Now, I said, people pay me a lot of money to talk. I'm doing it for free because I love you and love your cause. So it has to be both ends. It has to be some give and take. And I think there, substantively, again, if he's willing and able to get other people, bigger brains, brighter minds, who are equally invested in his heroic achievements and want to extend it, strategy is critical. Martin Luther King Jr. got beat in 1961 in Albany, Georgia. He went there, and that old wily sheriff said, two things. First of all, I ain't going to be violent. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna be beating you over the head. And secondly, I'm going to separate you. I'm not gonna put a bunch of black people in one jail. I've spread them across the counties. So you won't have these singings at night and these camp meetings and people see you. King learned from that in 1963, Birmingham, Alabama. Strategy. Let me see. If America is eating its dinner and it sees that black people are being washed against the wall and bicuspids and incisors of police dogs are ripping into the flesh of women and children, that will dramatically and theatrically communicate a message that I've been trying to preach for a long time. And so in Birmingham, when that occurred, the change was set in play, and in 1964, the Civil Rights Act came about, 65, the Voting Rights Act, because of Selma, and that is a result of strategy. It doesn't mean that you're a sellout. It means that you understand the enemy you're dealing with, the opponent that you're dealing with. And let me be even more honest. I was riding the NFL, getting into them hard, because I believe in fairness, and I've been riding with Colin from the beginning, and I still do. But then when I saw the contracts, it's not what necessarily was presented to be, right? Colin was very concerned about the NFL, rightfully so, manipulating the footage so that it could show that he was like messing up. So they said, we're going to put your director right next to ours. Then they offered to give him the raw footage. At that level, you just got to step up into the arena and represent. And I love him. And I want to have that kind of conversation with him, not with you on air. But it's difficult. And let me say finally this. Jumping on Malcolm Jenkins? Eric Reed, whom I love and adore too. Even if he calls me a sellout, I don't care. I love those guys. But calling Malcolm Jenkins a sellout because he decided to take the $89 million that the NFL gave, hold it. Listen to what you're saying. The NFL owners, who we know as a bunch are rascals, who we know as a bunch have been insensitive to the call and predicament of black people, right? But they then made a shift and said, we're going to give you $89 million to give toward black organizations and other organizations that you point out that are significant. Malcolm Jenkins is equally heroic because he's dealing with what? Stand your ground laws. They're talking about charging young men as young ladies as adults who are children. They're working on the mechanics. So in other words, Colin Kaepernick kneels to highlight situations that are unjust. Malcolm Jenkins is taking the baton to change sports and then running further with it to show what we can do. To call him a sellout because he has a different way, you got a Malcolm and Martin the game. You got a Starsky and Hutch the game.
But that's what you get. It's almost like if you don't agree with every step that Kaepernick takes,
you're a
sellout. You're a coon.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Can't and like Jay-Z, they call Jay-Z a sellout because Jay-Z said we're beyond kneeling now.
Right.
Oh, you sellout.
Right.
Oh, okay, we're kneeling. Okay, we were kneeling to get the attention.
Right.
Okay, now that we have their attention, okay, now what's the next step?
That's what he was saying. You know, people took that wrongly. I think when he said, oh, we're burnt out. Because if you look at the tape of the same conference that he had, right, the meeting there, he says, of course protest. Of course continue to do what you do. But his point was, kneeling is the first step. When you got kindling to start a fire, it's just the first step on the kindling. Kneeling is the kindling. Now you got to get to burning the big wood. Come on.
Put the logs on there.
You got to put the logs on the fire, as Grace Jones would say.
So, was that the unfortunate end of Colin Kaepernick as we knew and loved him as a football player?
You know, unfortunately and tragically, it may be. And leaders often make sacrifices, right? I don't want to, exaggerate the nature of the sacrifice, but it is his career. You know, people kept saying, why doesn't he just go do something else? Because that's what he loves to do, right? I love to speak. I love to write. I love to think. You guys love, and this wonderful woman love to engage in serious and critical analysis of sports. That's what you love to do. That's what you're born to do. And Colin feels that, and I understand that. But unfortunately and tragically, because of circumstances, it may be that this stage of his career is over. But look, Dick Gregory was a great comedian. But at some level, Dick Gregory said, I got to stop telling jokes because I have to get on the front line. Colin Kaepernick has been forced, perhaps coerced into this position. But Martin Luther King Jr. said, the battering rams of historical necessity have thrust me into that, quoting the great theologian Reinhold Niebuhr. So now Colin Kaepernick is in a position, and let's be even more blunt. The thing is that he was 1 in 11, 1 in 10 in his last 11 starts. So he's still better than a lot of quarterbacks out there playing right now. He could definitely play. But we know that given his talent level is extraordinary, but in his skills, but in terms of the outcomes from his games, right, he was in the middle of the pack. But now, as a heroic figure, now as an icon, he reigns supreme for a lot longer than you can play quarterback in the NFL. I know Tom Brady, Mr. Magic, is doing it at 42. And then, look, I don't agree with the politics. I don't agree with the sign. I don't agree with the implications of this Trumpian reality and ideology that prevails. But as a man on the field, Tom Brady is my man because 42 years old. I like old men who do great things and show young people that y'all ain't the only ones doing it.
But, Doug, this is where you and I part ways.
Right.
Unfortunately, his career ended when he took that knee. Not when he failed this failed comeback attempt.
Could make that.
Well, but you know what? It might have ended then, and it's tragic that it ended then, and America needs to be held to account then. And because he wanted to identify with, look at this. There are many football players on their cleats. Many of their causes: breast cancer, people, young people who are in jail, or young people who are in the hospital. So we don't have the same empathy for young black people who are being murdered. We thank God for Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee and standing up for that. At the same time, the NFL's inability to acknowledge that legitimate claim back then. But then when they made the shift, when they were willing to compromise, when Jay-Z got inside, it's compromise on both sides. In Birmingham, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't get, quote, everything he or the other leaders wanted. You got, Robert F. Kennedy came in and said, let me negotiate between the owners of the stores that are being protested and the side of the civil rights. So there is compromise on both sides. And unfortunately, I think at this level, it's pretty tough.
No mercy.
The Ravens clinched the AFC North last night behind both the legs and the arm of Lamar Jackson in a 42-21 blowout win over the Jets. Lamar ran for 86 yards, which was enough to break Michael Vick's single-season QB rushing record. Lamar's 33 passing touchdowns on the year not only led the NFL, but that also ties the Ravens' single-season franchise record. And Lamar seems to be a lock to win MVP this year, which would mark the second straight season that an African-American QB won the award after Patrick Mahomes took home the trophy last year. Eric Dyson, still with us.
Yes.
So good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
When you think about Lamar Jackson and the impact he's had, what has he done to the quarterback position this season?
I mean, it's astonishing when you think about breaking Michael Vick's record, which truly, I think very few people thought was going to be broken.
Correct.
But better than Vic in terms of the percentage of completions and what he's able to do in the air. So here's a man who's got a tremendous air game and a ground game. And he could do, as your favorite LeBron washed king, he could go, not bad for a running back, right? He could,
right, exactly.
Right, that's the hashtag. And his mama had to step in and make sure that the NFL or that teams would understand this is a quarterback. Why hamstring him? Because of his unique set of skills. So when I look at Lamar Jackson, I think an incredible guy. After Mahomes last year, which the no-look pass, and then him with this kind of ground game, and different than Vic too, because they were designed plays to run. I mean, that's even more extraordinary. So you're bringing the defensive attention on you, and he's still successful. But I think about it more broadly about the black quarterback. Here we are speaking about Colin Kaepernick and his just grievance with the NFL. But when you look at the fact that these black quarterbacks, when you think
Lamar,
about Lamar,
Deshaun, Russell Wilson,
right? And who are the three quarterbacks that Tom Brady lost to this year? Right?
African-American, yep.
Right. Deshaun, who is Mahomes and
Lamar.
And Lamar. So, beating the GOAT like that is no mean feat. So I think that when I was coming up, if you saw Joe Gilliam, if you saw a quarterback, coming along, brother James Harris, James Harris, and then we saw Warren Moon have to go 8 years in the CFL, over here, Doug Williams, who was in D.C. So now this kind of renaissance of black quarterbacks allowing people's talent to dictate who we see. And we know there were vicious racial, implications there. Well, the quarterback is not smart enough. Black people are not smart enough to run an offense. And we see now these guys are not only running it well, they are redefining the position. And so there's a level of pride, but acknowledgement of the barriers that have been overcome.
What I love the most is there was a tired old stereotype I came up with covering the game of pro football. Yeah, the black quarterback, he can run, but he can't throw.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this young man. He's the best running back in football, but more important, he's as deadly accurate a thrower with as high a football IQ as anybody throwing the football in the game today, which is why he is running away with the MVP.
Oh, yeah. Was he 109? What's his quarter QB rating right now? I mean, it's off the chart. It's crazy. Yeah.
So the point is, he's shattering that mold or that stereotype in ways I've never seen, because what I'm in awe of the most is they are leading the league in red zone touchdowns, because he gets in the red zone and it's hard to get it in the end zone from the red zone.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I think I'll go there because he's wide open. He keeps finding the most wide open receiver on every play. And makes great decisions on time that I've not seen. He's up in that Brady Breeze echelon right now on decision making.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people think, it's just enormous physical skill. It's the dexterity, it's the verbal, it's the ability to play because of his limbs. No, it's that brain that allows him to, that football IQ, to look, to see the field, like Magic Johnson, like LeBron, looking at this, like scoping it out, and then making a choice based upon what the options are, and having multiple options if this is closed down, and doing it at lightning quick speed. It's a remarkable thing.
And guess what, Skip? He's throwing touchdown passes. I guess they can't see the ball in the air because it's not to his hand. I had to see that. Skip had to get that with. But you know what?
Baker Mayfield wouldn't have that problem, would he?
Skip, what I like, Doc, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what these guys are doing is that they're showing that if you have talent, give me an opportunity. Don't put me into an antiquated system where this is the way the guy runs the system. This is the way you do it. Put a system around me.
That's what they did in Baltimore, right?
Yes.
Your former team. They said, we have a genius. I give Harbaugh the credit. We got a guy here, right? We have Einstein. Einstein is unorthodox. He's not going to study math the way you did, right? So Einstein said, the reason I was able to be better than people, he says, because I was retarded, we don't use that word anymore, in my growth. And because I was older when I came to math, I got deeper. So understanding who Einstein is, build the theory around Einstein's genius. They're doing this around Lamar. This is a guy who gives us, why hem yourself in by comparing him to others who had more limited skills than he does? Why not open up the possibility by saying he can run, he can throw, he can make decisions at the end zone, the red zone? How difficult it is, you know this, to score a touchdown in the NFL against equally talented big men who are trying to hurt you? That's an extraordinary thing.
It is.
Because, Skip, Andy Reid does not call plays for Patrick Mahomes like he called for Alex Smith.
No. Right.
And Deshaun is not getting plays called for him like they call for Tom Brady. You use the guy's skill set. What's the best way I can get to maximize his ability in what I'm doing now? I'm not worried about how Tom did it. I'm not worried about how Alex Smith did it.
Right.
How can I maximize his ability right now to get the most out of it? And these guys are getting the most. What Lamar Jackson is doing, he's 5th in the NFL in rushing.
Right.
He's leading the NFL in passing touchdowns, and he's number 1 in QBR and passer rating. I don't know if we'll ever see a combination like that again.
Your ex-wife is great. Your present wife is better.
Yeah. That's why she's the ex.
Michael, on that note, we thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you with us on the show.
Thank you so much.
Doc, appreciate the love, bro.
Thank you.
No mercy.
The New York Giants have officially waived Janoris Jenkins after the cornerback defended his use of an offensive insult toward a fan on Twitter. Jenkins said it was a, quote, hood thing to use the term, but Pat Shurmur said that Jenkins' quote, refusal to acknowledge the inappropriate and offensive language was the determining factor. So, Shannon, your reaction to this?
I mean, this is so ridiculous. I mean, look, here's the thing. You make a mistake. You say something that's inappropriate. I sincerely apologize. That was not my intent. I apologize for offending the people that took offense to what I said. You don't say, oh, we say that in the hood. Dum-dum, there's a reason why you left the hood. If you thought the hood was so good, you would have stayed there. You did everything you possibly could to get out of the hood.
That's true.
As you become prominent, when you leave these impoverished environments, the thing that you do, you must become a chameleon. Okay, when you go back there, if you want to intermingle with your guys like I do when I go back home, I act a certain way. But when I'm in the public's eye and when I'm in a public setting, I have to act a certain way. Why can't you just apologize? Guys, I'm sorry. What I said is inappropriate. I was wrong, and I sincerely apologize for offending anyone, open and shut. But then you don't apologize. You say, well, we say that in the hood. Like, that's okay. It's not okay. And anybody can tell you right now, Skip, that's ever talked to me, if they say that word, I don't care how close you are, don't say that. Don't say that. I'll stop them. Don't do that. Man, Janoris, I can. Yes, I can.
I wish he had been able to listen to Eric Dyson because he just preached on that same subject. It's not selling out to have to play by the rules of whoever you're working for.
Correct.
Whatever entity, if you're in the National Football League, there's certain rules you have to follow, and one of them is you can't say things you used to say in the hood publicly.
Thank
right?
you. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's not selling out.
No.
So he got his pride up yesterday and said, hey, I'm going to speak the way I speak real. Well, he's speaking real without a job right now because they just dismissed him.
Skip, the way we talk to our boys is that I would never talk publicly. There are certain things, I mean, Jenny, you talk to your girls a certain way. Okay, that's cool, but you wouldn't say that publicly. Just apologize. Be contrite, sincere, and move on. Don't talk about, oh, this is the way we talk in the hood, and it's
that
okay.
Is it for us guys. We'll be back Monday morning, 9:30 Eastern.
No mercy.
Thank you for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Keep an eye out for the weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring this week's best segments. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Sports, one of one.